Hello everyone. Today is the day I start grinding on the fiberglass. Got the panel here that is the support panel that has pulled loose from the front. And then this is the secondary damage. And then this damage over here, I think I did shortly after I got the car completed. I did the scuff part on the bottom. And then on the first Deep South Sober Cub ride that I went on, I hit a parking lot curb. Yeah, stuck up a little higher than I thought. So the first thing I'm doing here is the areas that are cracked, they won't go back on that other because of the fiberglass is stretched and it's overlapping, so I'm thinning it down and or cutting it out as it needs to where the panels can come back into alignment. And now with the front side all relieved, I'll work on the back side and do more of the same and then some. This is where I'll go in and take out the pieces that have broke loose and look for areas that have delaminated internally. They show up as a lighter area, and just haul them all out and get things ready to lay in some more glass. And here I'm taking a hacksaw blade, sliding it between the fractured panels and basically smoothing off some of the strings and debris from the old fiberglass so it'll lay down nice and flat. And now we got the area all prepped. Everything is cleaned. Got the panels laying down pretty nice against each other again. As I grind everything out, I try to leave a few witness marks here and there so I can tell when things fit back where they're supposed to. So it's off to the bench, mix up some fiberglass and cut up some fiberglass mat and start gluing it back together. Nothing special here, just polyester resin, and I have some talc powder here, and I mix it in with the resin and make it a little thicker. I can make it as thick as I want, sort of like baking bread dough, and get it mixed up in the resin before I put the hardener in it until I get it the way I like it. Add the hardener, go to work. Here are the strips of the fiberglass mat that I have cut up into various sizes. I got real thin ones that I lay in first, and then put the wider ones over the top of it, get them all saturated, and push them into place. First thing I do is get in and wet the area real well. Take and push the resin into any areas that might have been still a little delamination going on and fractures. Get everything glued down and get a good base, and then start laying the mat over the top of it. And once I got glue in all of the areas that were broken, I'll sneak around here and get a pair of vice grips and put on it and clamp it into place. This glue up here is predominantly just to lock all the pieces in place. I'm really not going for the final strength or the final makeup of the dimension of the panel. I grind everything down to where it's kind of wafer thin, but it still leaves me an indication of where it used to be, and then I fill everything back up to it. And this is where I'm laying in the little pieces of the cloth mat, and just a matter of building them up. Put in the narrow ones, cramp them into the corners, and make sure everything is thoroughly saturated with the resin, and then put more over the top. And what I'm using here is I use one of those 1-inch cheap disposable paint brushes and trimmed about half of the brush off of it so it's kind of stiff, and saturate it with the resin and just dab it, and that pushes the air bubbles out of the cloth and gets everything down in there deep. With the backside pretty well done for this first application, the front is more of the same. I've ground the cracked area down to where there's just a real thin layer of the original glass, and it gives me back support for the new. I've taken a couple pieces of paint paddle and lined up the oval hole, clamped it with vice grips, and then it's more of the same. Dab in the resin, dab in the cloth. And then tomorrow, or at least the next day I'm out there, I'll grind off these areas and give it a little shape, take the vice grips out of the way, and proceed to lay in some serious cloth to bridge all that areas and build all the thickness back up. And then that'll be it for that portion of the repair. Be down to smoothing and finishing. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video.